Okay, so everybody has talked about these, I think. I wish I had known about them because I really like good deals decent knives. Uh, I seriously, I think this is going to be a pretty good thing. I'm only going to open one. I'll leave the other one closed, but it's a 7.5-inch folding knife, D2 high carbon steel blade. Now, I mean, my assumption would be that it's D2. I think it's supposed to be a decent steel, but it's either not properly heat treated or it's just barely meets that standard, or maybe doesn't at all. I don't know. This is from Walmart. Uh, I'm used to the old back lock blades. Back here, you got a release, like the old timers and all that used to have, or a thumb liner lock right in here, which is what I'm really used to now. But this is some kind of a backstrap liner lock type deal. So it is a 3.25-inch D2 high carbon steel blade, a 4.25-inch injection handle, slide lock, belt clip. Okay, so that's a slide lock. And belt clip, smelt clip. I'd never put that on my belt. I'd pocket clip maybe, but so doesn't really say anything else specifically about the knife. 7.5-inch folding knife, which would be end to end. And so you can change your belt clip to be right-handed, which is apparently the way it comes. Yeah. And you can swap it over to be left-handed. Or as my wife would say, correct-handed or right-handed anyway. Because only left-handed people are in their right mind. And we all know that I'm not even in my left mind. And this is an old Walmart straight blade. I think I showed it in another review on another knife, maybe. NK 170 60TB is the type of steel. I have no idea what type of steel that is. But it's a really light knife. Uh, wow. Okay. So it closes itself. It's got a really good solid lockup, feels like. That's really nice. Uh, Opens nice. And it's spaced in there. And just looking, I mean, I'd almost swear that that's on bearings. I mean, that seriously looks like a thrust bearing on either side of the blade, which it's got a little bit of wobble. Uh, Pretty hard lock up, but slight bit, slight bit of wobble. Uh, you know, look at it. I can move the scales a little bit. Um, it's got gimping on the back of the knife as well as the back of the blade. And on the back of the knife, it's not, I'm going to say the blade's probably got a little better lock up with my thumb than the back of the knife. And I think that's probably due to it's slightly rounded and also with these scales, whatever that is. I mean, uh, I don't know what that would be made out of. The package doesn't say. Um, no, I mean, if it was something special, it would advertise it. It's not. It just says injection handle, so some kind of injection molded plastic. Uh, the clip is extremely strong. That would be, if it weren't for that sweep, that nice little sweep there, you'd have problems getting this on your pocket. Um, that's nice. You can see your studs down here that tie your scales or your liner together is beveled internally. You can see, hopefully you can see how it's kind of hourglassed in the middle. And so that would help protect your blade, that your blade is not making contact with this stud, because you know and it's a good quarter. It's a good quarter inch away from that stud, and in the front up here is at least the same. You can see on close the blade is slightly to the right. Not really a big deal. I mean, this in my opinion is a trash knife, and what I mean by trash knife, I usually get a couple. I've got several that are aluminum handles. Couple of them they're exactly the same, like this right here. So I chip the blade, issues with it or whatever. Then this goes in a drawer, and I open this one up and got a fresh one. But this is the knife that I would take and use to just do whatever and not worry about it, because it was $10. This right here is a $10 knife at Walmart. I think they got a new one out. I didn't see one. I had to ask for this one because it was hidden inside the counter. Takes very little effort to flick it out there. I mean, I'm not really doing much to get it to go out. And you can kind of, I don't know if you can tell the difference. Now, I'm just going to flick it. You can hear, even me with my bad ears, I can hear a high-pitched, tinny, metallic lockup. Now, I'm just going to barely flick it. Well, maybe a little better than that. That's kind of the same. I can't get it to do it now. What I'm trying to do is to get inertia to finish it. There you go. I don't know if you heard it, and maybe I run my mouth and you didn't, but just barely flicking it enough that it runs on the ball bearings only and finishes the opening. It's more of a thud on opening than a high-pitched metal ting. I can't explain it, but that'll take some used to. I mean, I had to get used to that. I don't know how well that spring will hold up in there, but that'll take a little bit of getting used to close a knife that way. Because again, back in the day, they were all back here, and then I've since then become used to reaching in here, and so I can see myself trying to close this knife, like this, or doing like this right here to try to close this knife when all I got to do is that, and it's closed. So I think the knife is I think it's well worth it. It's worth $10. It's every bit worth $10. So let's check the measurements on it. It said it was 3¼ inches, and they are actually dead on. The blade is like just a fraction over 3¼ and your cutting blade 3/32. It's more like 3 3/32 is your cutting edge, and then your overall blade is 3¼ So they're dead on. Their measurements are exact. I ain't grabbing a tape. It ain't worth it. But it feels sharp. And it is hair cutting sharp. Back in the day, we used to run around, never had any hair on our arms because we didn't have no fancy Dan D2 BR549 steel. And so we were sharpening our knives every time we used them. And of course, if it was sharp, it was shaven. If it wasn't shaven, it wasn't sharp. And so you get back on your whetstone. So, because I've carried a knife since I was 5. Kind of a funny story. My dad wanted to give me my first knife at 5 years old. And my mom said, no, he'll cut himself. And he snuck me a knife anyway, and I cut myself, and he got in trouble. And Mama took it away, and he snuck me another one. And so I've been carrying a knife since I was 5 years old. And so some of them are just sentimental. They're nothing. They're useless. They're nothing to them. Pen knives and stuff like this little jewel right here. I think I had this on a yard sale find, but I think it's cool. And so I got a lot of stuff like that, and then nothing's fancy, nothing's expensive, because I grew up poor and I had nothing fancy or expensive. I couldn't afford it. You know, I guess we were a whole lot better off than a lot because we did eat steaks. Now, of course, you were supposed to cut them all up, cube them up, and use them in stew. But that was our steaks, and we got them. I can remember probably a good handful of times growing up as a kid that we were able to do that. So, but anyway, knives that I've collected over the years. So that's what we got on this. If you want to see any more, got any questions about it, so I'm not used to doing any kind of a review on a knife, but kind of get an idea. I guess I should watch a lot of knife videos to kind of get an idea what they look at and what you may be interested in seeing. But just, hey, look, you know what? Comment on this video, like and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. But most importantly, comment on the video. So, all right, so that's all I got. I thank you and I appreciate you. We're going to see you on the next one. Is very important to me, and I thank you for spending it here with me. Thanks, and God bless.